Okay, we'll start. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Hope everyone had the chance to go through the introduction as well as the initial verse of Kenopanishad. I've seen that the introduction has been elaborate. Almost, I think it runs up to the 23rd page. And Swamiji has given a nice introduction, right from basics. Because in each book, he has to give that. Each book has to have that introduction towards that subject. If, for example, if someone is picking up Kenopanishad, this book as the starting point for the pursuit, then they need to know some basics about what Upanishad is all about, what Atma Vidya is all about. So that's the reason each book will normally carry this kind of introduction, and it's quite elaborate. Hope everyone found it useful. We had a chance to discuss any points or doubts which were coming up in the last week on the introductory pages. First thing what I want to do is, in case people have any doubt on the introduction itself, we can first ask that, we can first go through that, and then we can start with the verse. So in case still people have some doubts on that, we can discuss that first. I'll give a minute for people to think over, and then we'll proceed to the first verse.
I think the introduction is clear.
It's clear, right? Okay, good. So we'll chant the first verse, and then we will see how we proceed with that. See
We
the
are going to mantra.
mantra.
Shanti Pata also.
Shanti Pata is always the first verse. We will go through that, and then we will also go through the mantra part also. Shanti Pata, always in the tradition when we read that, the Shanti Pata is also chanted, and then it is started, because to respect that particular Upanishad, Shanti Pata of that also normally is chanted. Generally what we do is in our class as well, and normally the way the sampradaya is in some of these traditions, Sahana Bhavatu is chanted. Any Shanti mantra is good enough. Sahana Bhavatu corresponds to Taittiriya Upanishad. It comes from Taittiriya Upanishad. So we have been chanting Sahana Bhavatu at the beginning of each of our session. So that's good enough that we have been doing that. And this is a specific one. We will chant this first, and then we'll go ahead. I'll just chant slowly. I'll chant. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranas Chakshusrotra Matho Balam Indriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति. I was just going through what Swamiji has given as an explanation to this verse. I think he has dealt with a lot actually in terms of the preliminary stuff which is required from an introduction to Vedanta side of it. Actually, I've seen. I mean, each of these words he is explained in details. So that's what I've seen. In that portion, is there any doubt that is still there? If people would like to say that, I would like to go through that first, because I think he said enough actually in that. He's shared so much in that actually as well. And from our structure perspective, everything starts with the prayer, and gaining adhikaratva is the first step. If simultaneously done, it's one of the necessary steps along with vichara. So gaining adhikaratva and vichara, we saw, were the recipe for success in Atmavidya. So this we have seen in Viveka Chudamani. Now, when you see this flow of Upanishad, this is the first Upanishad we are taking. Actually, some of you might have read Upanishad earlier also. So, when we are going through this, we can appreciate those steps also here. So, starting point is always a Shanti mantra in any Upanishad. The idea is always to gain adhikaratva, basically. So, if you see, the same thing is happening here also. Here we are gaining adhikaratva and we are asking for physical well-being as well as mental well-being. Both we are asking, and like from whom we can ask? From someone who has created everything, we can ask this small thing also. So that's the best way to do it actually. It is like many a times I call it. It is like an invisible ATM. You just ask for it, you get it. That's it. And asking is the least thing we can do in terms of seeking help. So you have to just appreciate one thing. In this Brahma Vidya, there are certain things we will get to know. And as we always saw, when a person comes into Brahma Vidya, the entire package of things around us, it is reduced to 3. I think this technique, they call it Triputi, they call it actually. Everything is reduced to 3 things, so that it becomes easy for analysis. So the inquirer, the person who is inquiring, who wants to understand everything about world and everything about the one who has created the world. So inquirer is one entity, Jagat is the next entity, and the presupposed notion of a creator. We can say either a notion or a starting point as a postulate, whatever we can call it. That as the creator, right? We can give any name for that actually. In Sanskrit, br is one dhatu, which means the big. So obviously in Sanskrit there are so many dhatus, and one of this appropriate dhatu is br. So Brahman comes from that root br. So that is taken, and Brahman, the word Brahman is used as a name for denoting the creator, the ultimate cause. So in return, there should not be any more cause that brings about Brahman. So that has to be understood actually. If we are looking at that person who is the cause of everything here, in turn he cannot have one more cause. In that case, then to say that he is the ultimate cause, the word ultimate will become useless, right? Not meaningful basically. So we are looking at an ultimate cause, and everything that is created in front of us, that is Jagat, and the person who is inquiring. Now, in terms of the person who is inquiring, this person, it himself is made of physical body, which is a product of everything that is physically available in this world, and there is one inquirer who is in this entire scheme of this physical body and this mental body, you can call it. And this mix is something where uh, a lot has to be understood. And one's own body mind sense complex itself has to be understood as idam. So when we say we reduce this entire pursuit to three, one is the inquirer, Jagat, and the ultimate cause. And during inquiry in Tattva Bodha and in Viveka Chudamani, we saw lot of this physical and physiological function of this body mind sense complex as a person who we are, who we take ourselves to be. That was shown very clearly that something which you hold as Jagat just in front of you is basically creating this body as well. That is what is represented as body as well, because without food, body does not thrive. So the entire thing is Annamaya, and gradually it was also making a person understand what this body mind sense complex is all about. So it was dissecting each of these layers, going from gross to the subtlest. So you can say it's like matter and energy. So the system was explaining this entire human body, what we take ourselves to be, right from matter, which we can appreciate as a gross knowledge, up to energy. So where we start from Manomaya onwards, it becomes more the invisible, the intangible side of it, more on the energy side of it. Annamaya in fact Pranamaya is also kind of gross object, you can say. Beyond that, it becomes very subtle. But the system has given this entire spectrum of what is body mind sense complex is all about, right from gross to the subtle. So this package was very, very clearly laid out, and whether it is matter or whether it is energy. So subtle part, let us take it as energy, okay, and the gross part, let us take it as matter. Whether it is matter or whether it is energy, it is basically Jagat only. So the methodology deployed here is first reduce everything to three things to make the pursuit simple. So inquirer, who takes himself to be this entire body mind sense complex as this person. So whenever you get into the mirror, you identify yourself, yeah, this is me, yes. And maybe if you forget yourself for some time, again you look into the mirror, yes, I am this only. Again you reassure yourself actually, and then get this identity again. So that's the identity we have. He is that inquirer, Jagat, and ultimate cause. When you inquire further with the help of Shastra, we understand that, okay, everything that I see on the mirror is gross body, very clear. Just after gross body itself, you cannot see anything. You can say, okay, for example, if you do Kapalbhati or if you do probably Anulom Vilom, some other pranayama in front of the mirror, you can see the body performing those pranayama. To that extent, somewhere the connection of pranamaya can be there, but still what you see is only Annamaya. Mirror can only show you Annamaya. Your eyes can only go up to Annamaya as much as possible. But the sense of touch is outside as well as from inside as well. So the sense of touch, that Indriya, will help us to little bit appreciate this pranamaya little bit, because when you take the breath inside, you feel inside, and when you fill the lungs, you feel that air goes inside. You can't see air, but then you feel it. So to that extent, yes, skin helps. But as you go beyond, you become more a tattva. So you become more and more at the level of mind itself. Things start becoming more towards energy, and it starts moving towards the witness tattva. So that's what is happening. And I think that witness part was also mentioned in the introductory verses, where Swamiji mentioned that yes, pratyaksha can be through these five senses, and also some of the subtlest things are not sensed by these five senses, including skin, but something else. So that's where he was saying that is the direct witness. So coming back to Tripudi, the idea is to package everything into three and go more and more into the analysis of this inquirer himself. Because you can understand the idea of packaging everything into three was for simplification. Now, having identified this simple method, okay, now if we start dwelling more on Brahman or Jagat, you see what will be the folly. You can appreciate this. Now, if you want to look at the ultimate cause, saying that fine, I want to see that ultimate cause. So we can't say that the way we have this Ashwamedha Yaga, where you just let a horse loose. You let it loose, whichever samrajya it goes, that becomes ours, kind of. If it goes unchallenged, if that is challenged, the person who let it go has to go and win over that person to establish that okay, that's his kingdom. So that this way one arrives at an unchallenged leader and one arrives at a territory. So supposing you go into that kind of a journey to first take up the ultimate cause as the first part of inquiry, to really acquire that first. For example, in this Triputi, we say that let me first get Brahman, then I think in any case I'll get Brahma Vidya. It's very simple. So let me get Brahman. Simple, no? That is one of the easiest thing we can do. So the way you advertise these days, you say Brahman, wherever you are, please come. So that is one way you can do. Or I don't know what are the other things you can do actually. One can be very creative, but you can understand what kind of limitation it will have. All that we are saying is Brahman is that which is Ekam. It is one. Apart from that, nothing else exists. So that is the definition of Brahman we ourselves set actually. Then you will be really confused. If it is one thing, it should be here also. Then it is also Nirguna. Then how do I interact? How do I get introduced to Brahman? How do I acquire Brahman or hug Brahman? All these things will come into picture. And you will be endlessly doing that, trying to do that, not being able to achieve anything. So that is the problem when you start with Brahman and identifying Brahman or locating Brahman as the concept. That would become a problem. Now, if you take Jagat for analysis, Jagat being what it is, it's so vast, it's unimaginable to really fathom everything about Jagat. Even when we study in a school, forget alone any Gurukul and these kind of studies, Vedanta studies, normal studies, when you go, you already see that there are kind of 6 like Panchabhuta. You have these subjects are like Bhuta only, Bhut only actually. Like Panchabhuta, you have all these 5 subjects actually that become scary, at least right from the childhood itself. So even when someone has to be taught, right there itself you have kind of 5 subjects. Now one is happy saying, oh, abhi to history, geography, everything is gone. Social studies is one subject normally, okay? Then after that, then it becomes history, geography, civics. And then within that history itself, when someone does research, he has to get into medieval period, this period, that period. So when you get into the nitty-gritties, each of this area gives million opportunities of a PhD topic within that area. So our experience, at least as adults having grown to this kind of an age, is very, very clear that Jagat is something which is unending for exploration. How much ever you might have tick boxed, some of your place of visit, there will be one more place which another person will come and take. Arey, yahan pe gaye the kya? This was a great place. This is our experience. And then you feel low saying, arey, ye to dekha nahi tha humne. Though we have spent millions of rupees in travel all these years, but this place we have not seen. Now we have to go So the list only gets on added all the time. Whether it is in terms of knowing a species, which probably we may not be knowing. For example, if someone says, "Oh, I saw 10-headed snake," then again we have to feel small. We have not seen that. Africa में एक जगह पे है. So now you have to go and see it because it is pratyaksha. So putting your efforts to understand Jagat definitely is not going to be useful, because the inquirer, at least when he starts with the identification of the one who sees in the mirror. And this person is very clear, if not from pratyaksha, from anumana, that his life is around, his lifespan is around 100 or 120 years. If not pratyaksha, at least by anumana. Because at least his great grandparents are not here, so he knows that theek hai bhai, apna bhi time aayega. This is very clear. So if this is the idea, even if a person wants to understand Jagat completely, he has only 120 years or 130 or 150 years maximum. Let me give the benefit of doubt. 150 years to spend. So even if he is like Narendra Modi ji, who spends hardly 4 hours or maybe 4.5 hours in sleep, every other time he is quite productive. Even if someone is able to only sleep for 3.5 hours or 4 hours and spend every other single minute in understanding Jagat, even then each of you would definitely say it is impossible to understand Jagat, because you can probably finish with earth, then what happens after that? You have to have some more janma to really understand all those other things as well. So in this Triputi model, we understand that it's very difficult to pursue Brahman and it's very difficult to pursue Jagat also. That's why Shastra... Yeah, somebody saying something? Any doubt?
I wanted to say, but our entire journey is towards understanding Brahman and Jagat. Ultimate objective is understanding Brahman.
Correct.
So
to start with, it is that actually, to know what is the root cause of things what we are seeing here, and who is the creator, what is his nature, and also while doing this, since we have 3 things here, we have to understand the nature of each of this to understand the overall picture. We start with a puzzle that, okay, things are happening around us, and if everything goes well, there is no pause available actually, an opportunity for pause available to really sit back and think as to what is happening around us. If that pause comes in, that's where all this churning happens. I want to really understand what is happening around us. That's how it happens. Yes, we can say that we start with understanding Brahman. To a larger extent, yes, when people are coming from like upasana based approach, or if someone has been doing yaga, yajna, everything, so they have been anchoring that totality into one force. Any name you can take, either Vishnu, Shiva, Lakshmi, any upasana. So they take that upasana, they put that whole the totality into one particular form, and there are so many forms given to us by our Shastra, and they keep pursuing it. So that's where, yes, you can say that we have been always pursuing the totality all the time, though we may not be knowing exactly in terms of what we are really seeking. We are seeking that something which is behind everything what we see. That's what we are seeking. To that extent, yes, we are seeking that Brahman all the time. But that's where I think Shastra makes us focus, actually saying, okay, you want this, fine, park it there, now let's proceed in the journey. So Viveka Chudamani, if you see, that's what it was saying. Viveka, as a part of Sadhana Chaturthaya itself, it said very clearly, Viveka one should have. What is Viveka? To understand that Nitya Vastu Ekam, Nitya Vastu, the one Vastu which always exists without any modification, is first of all one. Undivided whole, it's just one. And give that name Brahman, Nitya Vastu Ekam. Brahma, again I will mention at the cost of repetition, Brahma there in that definition is not Brahmaji. Brahmaji is a role holder. He is supposed to be the creator, or the function of creation is ascribed to Brahmaji, because you have to explain things and it becomes very easy when you say function wise. You have creation, you have sustenance, you have resolution. That's where I think I was trying to add something in a different way, that you have Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva given as the role holder for these. So I was putting that as Brahma, Vishnu, Shivam, and take the last letter of all this, unite them, it becomes A, O, Im. That's how Om comes into picture. So when we say Om is Pranava Mantra, that is the ultimate thing that can be there. It's ultimate sound. Yes, it's ultimate how this one part of Jagat which is in front of us, it just gives us in one mantra, one sound. This entire Jagat can be seen as something which comes, sustains, goes. Very clearly. Born is gone, big, as Swami Paramarthananda says. So this entire Jagat can be very simply put, comes, exists, goes. So to that you can always give this name, the role holder. When you see the role holder, the one who is doing this, the name is Brahma, Brahmaji basically, Brahma, Vishnu and Shivam. That's where Shivam I was putting it, I was using it, was convenient to use because it was becoming more meaningful in the structure. So the last ones you take, we have abbreviation, right? Everywhere, A, B, C, cat, this, that, there's so many abbreviations. So put it as an abbreviation, amalgamate them through grammar, it becomes Om. So Om is complete representation of Jagat. It is just Jagat. Now in Om, after Om you have that Shanti, right? Shanti means many things actually, and one of them, what you see, one technique is when you meditate, you keep saying just Om, 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 Om. The intermediate silence what obtains is something one has to always regard and take notice of. So Om space, Om space, Om space. So Om and then space, when you leave it to that place, Om Shanti is already there. Okay, so I normally say that if I have to say Shanti in a word, I have to again produce a sound. So you have to leave it as Shanti. Don't say anything. Om, gap, Om, gap, Om, right? That gap. So that gap, what kind of opportunity it gives us? When something is in front of you, that is Om. You just put entire Jagat into Om. So that Om is as of now in the form of thought. So when you just think Om space Om, now you take just Om and that second space alone. For example, Om is Jagat. You have identified, you are witnessing, the ultimate witness is witnessing this Om, right? As you think, you are already witnessing that thought. So that witness, ultimate witness we are talking about. Mind is just working and it is just bringing in a thought. So that thought is objectified by another person. That is that ultimate witness we are talking about. And that witness, witnesses a mind that is full of thought and the one which is without a thought. That space where silence is obtained, mind is kind of silent there. That mind also is witnessed by this jiva. That is very important. That's a trick actually there that one has to understand. So coming back to this, in Triputi, if you start looking at Jagat and if you start looking at pursuing this Brahman directly, it's not going to yield any result. That's where intelligently Shastra comes towards the analysis of this person who's inquiring, and it makes him understand that everything that he sees in the mirror is not him. It is a part of Jagat only. It is just that this person, until yesterday it was apple, it was a part of Jagat. Next day it becomes this person plus that apple or the nutrients in that apple, because you also have a waste going out. So basically the essence of that apple comes as food into this person, nourishes the body, and waste is thrown out. That nourishment is still there. Finally we are that nourished being, that's it. So what you see in the mirror, and to some extent something what you cannot see in the mirror but is also a part of world. That's where I am saying matter and energy. Both this Shastra says that this entire Panchakosha, when it was saying that right from matter to this energy, your body is made of all these things. The person you take yourself to be is this matter and energy. Know that. So the moment it makes us understand that this matter and energy is basically a byproduct of this Jagat, now what has happened? This inquirer has become even lighter. The one whom this person was appreciating, looking at the mirror, he has thrown away that image. In any case, that's an image. And he himself understands this actually. Yeah, of course, yeah. This mirror has remained the same. My size has been changing. Either you put on weight, it goes on changing, or you put down weight, it goes on changing. Mirror has remained the same. That has even better permanence than me actually. It has been always showing whatever I am, irrespective of what I would like to see myself as. So right from childhood till now, it has been showing me this. So you understand that yes, what Shastra is saying is right. This body is something which is undergoing a change all the time. And even more funnier is mind actually. I liked Cornetto yesterday. Today onwards I am not liking it. But until yesterday I was even giving an ad for that actually. I was an influencer for Cornetto in either Instagram or Facebook or wherever. I used to say, boss, life means once you should have Cornetto. That's what moksha is. That's what I've been telling all the time till now. Then suddenly, next day I wake up and I say that if at all someone has to have a useless experience, eat Cornetto. Try Cornetto. Today you become this. Now you go in front of the mirror saying, what kind of person I am actually? Until yesterday, I mean, is it like, in just 1 second I changed? What is the change over time? And what happened to me? So this is what is the mind you see in the mirror as well. Though you do not see that way, you see in that sense of seeing actually. So this is what we all know about ourselves. Matter plus energy. This matter part is also very funny. It keeps changing. And yes, Fair and Lovely gives complexion. That's what people say. Try out. And again we see the change in the mirror. And then most of the times I think we use all the products for whatever reason, and then finally decide that mentally you settle down saying, yes, take care, Anitya, leave it. Close up gives white color, whatever color, yes, yeah, kuch bhi hoga, theek hai. And someone feels, somehow my teeth is yellow only. Finally, when you really happen to read something on, dental stuff, or you speak to a doctor, dentist, then you get understand that you are best the way you are naturally born. You are supposed to be having this kind of yellowish kind of stuff, and that's naturally given to you, and that's the best health you can have. You try putting some other color, whatever it is, you try to bleach or whatever it is, you are only weakening the teeth. So you understand that, oh, I was naturally better off. So this entire gross body, this world of matter plus energy in this packaged form where we think we are, which we think we are, that is challenged. And Shastra makes us understand that, boss, please understand, this matter and energy is coming from outside to you. So you are different from this. This distancing which Shastra is giving is an amazing insight, and that's a starting point. That's where we become lighter. We are already a traveler, and even everywhere in maybe airlines or wherever it is said, travel light. This way, leave the baggage, leave this material plus this energy part into Jagat. So you started as kind of a, I would say either 50 kg, whatever kg each one can take as a 50 kg inquirer, mumukshu. Now, after some of these lessons of, gross body, subtle body, causal body, Panchakosha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and body not being, the Atma not being any of these things, Atma is pure. That knowledge, when it is given, we become an inquirer minus 50 kgs. Lighter to an extent like it is 0 kgs. That's when we have to understand, okay, 0 kg ho gaya to inquirer kahan hai? So that's why the journey progresses. That's how the journey progresses. So in Atma Vidya, the secret is that it comes to oneself. That's why the Atma is very, very important. Atma has a specific connotation to that pure Atma, that Chitta, whatever equivalent we are talking about. And another simple meaning is Atma is oneself. I mean, like for example, if you say, what you can say, Atma Vichara means self-inquiry. So the simple word of self, that also is Atma Trupti, for example, self-satisfaction. For example, we always say, I sing for my self-satisfaction, my Atma Trupti. I'm not singing that because I want to get some laurels or whatever. I sing for my Trupti, Atma Trupti. So that Atma is also there, a relative sense that is used actually, self, normal self. But ultimate self is what we are pursuing, which is what is given the name Brahman. So, Vichara guides us and Vichara helps us become lighter in this sense, and the inquirer becomes lighter and lighter. First he is lightened and enlightened. As he is lightened and given some more dosage of lines and verses and funda, he is enlightened. So this is the progress which we are looking at, and the current scheme of prayer is, yes, please give me that power which can make me see things as they are and not as they seem to be. Because what we have been seeing is always the wrong thing. How we have understood that over a period of time? We took that to be right always. That's a different thing altogether. But we have understood that they are all wrong from our perspective of understanding. We take something to be something by looking at that. But on detailed inquiry, if not inquiry, through experience you get to know, ye to aise nahi hai. Doesn't work that way. So you go to a person thinking this guy is going to teach something, and finally after putting 10 years you understand that you got nothing out of it. Actually that person was only making money. So you get that. Unfortunately that's experience. What can you do? So we understand that what is in front of us, what is the truth behind all these things. That's what we are trying to do. So in asking for this support, that okay, hey Lord, give me this mental strength, give me this physical strength, which will help me overcome this puzzle, what I am seeing in front of me. So that's a very simple summary of seeking help from the ultimate. You just withdraw that power, that's all. How are you able to withdraw the power? Because first thing, the power is certainly there. That's why you see Jagat and yourself as well. That's the reason something is coming about actually. And if that is available everywhere, it has to be available near me as well as in me, not only outside of me. So if it is so proximate to me, I have to just seek help. Hey, please, hey totality, give me this help. That's all. Simply you have to ask that, that's all. That's what is happening in this prayer. And prayer being karma, it will produce a result. And what result we have asked? We have asked for strong body and strong mind for inquiry. And in this case specifically, I think it's also mentioned, Naham Brahma Nirakuryam, Mama Brahma Nirakurot. So it's saying that let me not reject Brahman, let Brahman not reject me. So that is also mentioned here actually. So let this not happen. Let me ultimately understand this ultimate and Jagat as myself also, and myself. To understand what these things are, let me understand, give me that power. So that's the background with which we pray. So I thought I should really delve into these things, because bringing back these basics, bringing back what we learned in Viveka Chudamani is going to be an indispensable part. And this learning is always cumulative. Unlike in some courses where we study some things and they don't continue later, you don't even need to have background of those things, because you can just cut them off. It doesn't work that way in Atma Vidya. In Atma Vidya, the concepts that we have learned earlier, they become the stepping stone for the further learning. And of course, it can be learned through any format. I mean, it can be learned through book X or book Y, but the concept has to be known. That's more important. So in summary, we are seeking help from that ultimate, in terms of physical health as well as mental health, to have the right energy and power to pursue the thing to overcome this problem of samsara. That's what we are asking in this prayer. When we go further, so mantra 1 goes this way: Keneshitam patati preshitam manah, Kena prana pratama praiti yuktah, Keneshitam vachamimam vadanti, Chakshushrotram kaudevo yunakti. This is how it goes. I won't do justice if I rush and finish this mantra and explain everything today. I would rather like to listen from others as to what you all have gone through in this mantra, and I would go slow on this because these verses, they are quite loaded, and if you see this Upanishad is relatively a shorter one, and you can even compare this to Viveka Chudamani, which was much more elaborate. It had 108 verses, and this probably has about 30 verses maybe. So rushing away would not help too much. I would want people to discuss as to what they went through in mantra 1 and ask questions. Whatever Swamiji has shared in that, I'm sure Swamiji would have shared so many things in that. I don't read this actually that way. Normally, I don't do that. So this is the context is that, in Brahma Vidya, it has to address a question. Any discussion that is happening has to address a question which someone has. There has to be a problem, and Upanishad becomes the solution to it. If a person has not identified the problem, that person need not even consult Upanishad, because it will not make any sense to him. If I suddenly give you a book in Greek language, you will think, what kind of funny thing I am doing actually. What will I do? It's Greek language and this book is given to me. Yeah, book may be very nice with good wrapper, it's all fine, and it may also have a tag of $1,000 as the price, but then how is it valuable to me? It's in Greek, and I don't even know what subject is there in that. So if that is the kind of distancing we have from what is being offered in Upanishad, one should not even pursue it actually. Upanishad comes as a solution to a person who has identified the problem. So the problem identification was the first point actually. That's where the context is set. Then Upanishad becomes meaningful. So the questions were the basis on which the answers were being given by Shruti. Okay. In Viveka Chudamani, we saw that the student was saying that he is stuck with the fear of samsara, and specifically he is stuck with the fear of death. Durvara samsara davagni taktam doduyamanam durudrishta vataihi bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityoho sharanamanyam edaham na jane. So the person who came to this guru was saying that I am really stuck with this samsara, this entire tempest of samsara, and the way the wind is blowing, the kind of wind that's blowing, I am really worried, and I have fear of death. Bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityoho. So he says that, please, hey Guru, protect me from this fear of death. So that's what he asks. Paripahi mrityoho. From death itself, you please protect me. So basically the person comes and expresses that he has problems with samsara, and he is a little worried, he wants to really understand what's happening, and he wants solution. So he comes with a psychological state, and that state is what is being addressed. Without that state being there, without that requirement being there, without that mumukshitvam, in a way it is mumukshitvam, because that person wants to be free. He is stuck, he is feeling limited, he is feeling oppressed, whatever, and he wants to just bounce out by saying, I want to gather myself, I want to understand what's happening, I want to overcome this problem. That's where the maturity of seeking help happens. When the mumukshitvam is there at that right level, you will find the right person to help, and also you will seek help. That's more important. So when the person has come with those questions, so what were the questions asked at that point in time? When the first information was given to that person saying, oh, don't worry, this is because of bondage. You have bondage on the samsara. That's the reason you are having this problem. then that person asks this question. Next question he is asked, Ko nama bandha, what is bondage? Katamesha agataha, how does this come about? Katam pratistasya, how does this get established? How does it sit in me actually? Katam vimokshaha, how do I get rid of this? Ko asau anatma, these anatma what you are mentioning, what is this anatma? And this ultimate what you are mentioning, paramahaka atma, what is this atma? And between them, how do I differentiate? Tayoho vivekaha katam etaduchyatam, katham etaduchyatam, how? Please let me know. So these 7 questions form the basis of entire Viveka Chudamani that was revealed later by Guru. Later, the gentleman asked one more question. After a particular time, he asked one more question. So these questions were the basis of the answers which were given. In the absence of questions, no answer makes any relevance. So here also, in this Upanishad, it starts with these questions. Ordained by whom these functions, these things work? My eyes, how do they see? Ordained by whom? For example, if you make an artificial eye with all the things what you can imagine as this chemistry or biology, these days we make, what do you call it? Cultured crystal, cultured diamond. We make everything, right? Diamond is naturally available. But once we know how diamond is formed, you can engineer that, give the necessary ingredients, create those pressure and create diamond. I think this is called cultured diamond. I have not seen how it is manufactured, but I can imagine this is how it is done. And if you want to create one particular virus, I think there is a structure which is available for virus, and if you want to create another set of virus, you just change a code there actually, and then you get another set of virus, and this can be produced in lab. So we try doing this all the time. So even though we can create set of eyes in this way through a cultured method, synthesis method, you can never create that mind or the witness behind that. That is the basis of this function. In many cases you will see you have the right pupil, you have this, you have that. Someone will say, okay, retina is not working. And in many cases, you may have everything in place, everything about this eye system, the system of sight in place, to that extent that when this person dies to whatever brain death or whatever it is, it's possible to take this entire physical stuff and plant it into another person. It works there. So we can only do as much. It's very difficult to create the jiva behind that actually. Very, very difficult to create, or it is impossible to create the jiva behind that. So in this place, this person is asking the same question. He's coming from that angle actually, saying, yeah, I can create this kind of body, whatever. But for them to function, there is something which is behind that. It's what is making it function. Please let me know who is that, ordained by whom these things are functioning. So that's the question actually. You create a robot, yes, it can work. And these days you try to give emotion also, but it is all borrowed emotion. You fit into that, that's how it is working actually. But it can never be self-sustained beyond a point. Even artificial intelligence, it will have a limitation beyond a point. It's all everything you have collected and given as a knowledge. But they don't work so independently as a person works. This jiva, the way he works, he can create so many artificial intelligence stuff like that actually. But that artificial intelligence cannot create a jiva like this. Impossible. That's where this question comes from. Ordained by whom these things are functioning? So again, we are going to the cause actually. That's where we are trying to do. That's what we are trying to do in this. And how this mind falls on objects based on what? How? Ordained by whom? So this is what is being asked actually. Kene shitam patati preshitam manah kena prana pratama praiti yuktah. How this prana functions? Based on what? Ordained by whom? It was functioning all the while now. Suddenly this person is gone and body is intact. Everything is available. Only prana is not there. Then what is this actually? Ordained by whom then this prana was working? How? Similarly, Kene Shitam Vachamimam Vadanti. How this person was speaking? What is this based on? So this entire root cause basically is being asked. Based on whom? Based on who is this cause? Who is this person? This is happening. That is the first question that is being asked. These set of questions become uh, the entire topic in this Upanishad. The entire flow of Upanishad is based on this. Similar to also in Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna was asking question after every set of explanation that was given. He had his own sets of questions, and the questions form the basis of any Upanishad. The solution comes only with reference to the question. So this is something which I wanted to share in this context. I will open the session for questions. Bhavya, please go ahead. I can see Bhavya raising hand. Yeah.
What doubt I have is, see, when we were born, why the totality was not given to us? Why we had to seek? See, now we are understanding it, no?
Yes.
Why, when the human being was made, why God thought that we had to seek it? Why it was not given to us in the very beginning?
Beautiful question. Wonderful question, actually. See, one thing is, otherwise, gurus will not have any occupation. This is just on a lighter note. See, when you read this further, when you complete this Upanishad, and when you really understand that and you get the purport of that as a first hand knowledge, this question will die. For sure. Sometimes, when you reveal the suspense, to some extent people can think that, array suspense pehle se bol diya, people don't like the suspense, and it may not be working that well also to some extent, you can say. But in any case, I don't mind actually. I'm not coming in such a strict sampradaya that I will not reveal what is coming in the last chapter. See, when you read Mandukya Upanishad, you will understand this. This is something which I also had this question, and some of these answers only really get you through this problem of ignorance. Ultimately, when you understand, the understanding is that the self has remained always the same. It has never undergone any change. All that is happening in front of you is Maya. And Maya, the way it is worded, it is Ya Ma. Ya is that. Ma is which is not. That which is not is Maya. And we see Jagat, it is Maya, it is not there. It is not there to start with. So when you understand that, even when you look at it, you say this is not there. For example, when you know this concept of mirage, you know very clearly that as you are driving, you are able to see water, but definitely you're not going to ask your driver to stop. Our tires should not get wet. Stop. You will never say this. Though your perception is very clear, your eyes are saying that it is water. It is water. It is more kind of coming out from Anumana. It's very nice example, mirage actually. Swamiji has spoken about perception and Anumana. Perception, what you see directly is perception. Anumana is based on, from your perceptionary world experiences, if X is true, then Y is true. If Y is true, then Z is true. Now, when you see Z straight away, you presume X. X should have been there, that's the reason Z is seen. Like smoke and fire, for example. So that Anumana part works. In mirage, it's amazing actually. Our perception is that whenever reflection happens, that is either due to something like a reflective item, which is like a glass or whatever, mirror or whatever it is, or it is water most of the times. And when you really go on the road, definitely no one would have put glass there. That we are very clear. So automatically mind says, especially on the sand or no, mind says, oh, this should be water only. Because of the way also it creates like a waves, whatever it is. The total internal reflection works that way. That it also kind of creates a wavy kind of image. So you know that, okay, from water only normally this kind of a reflection can come. So Pratyaksha and Anumana makes a person see that as water. But that's where the knowledge comes all about. A matured understanding is that from an experience or whatever is that, it is not really water, it is mirage. This is very clearly understood. When you understand Vedanta also, when it culminates into moksha, the same sense prevails. Jagat is in front of me, but it is not there. Just like the way today also when you drive into Thar desert, you see mirage, but you are very clear that that is not water. Similarly, Vedanta knowledge, when you understand the ultimate point of Vedanta as a self-ascertained, assimilated knowledge, as a package, what you understand as an outcome is that Jagat which is seen in front of me is not there, it is a projection of me. And that cause what I was talking about is nothing other than me. Ahameva Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. That is how it is understood. So this Jagat, Brahman as well as this inquirer, what we started as Triputi, to make it little concise, they become one. When they become one, after that there is no question. You can't even ask a question because you understand everything to be one. What is appearing is all only an appearance. There you understand Guru was also an appearance, as much as Jagat was an appearance, as much as our own question was an appearance, as much as our ignorance was an appearance. This is the understanding you have. And in that knowledge, for example, when you churn this milk, when you churn the curd, when milk is set and then you have the fermentation and then you churn, you get that ultimate thing as ghee. That ghee is something which can never deteriorate. It can, we all know that honey and ghee can stay for ages without getting spoiled, right? Something like that you can say. When you churn this entire system using, when you say this is a Tamil, we call it mattu actually, whatever we use for churning it, the churner, whipper, whatever you call it, that we are using Vedanta for that. When you churn this entire mind and this body, this understanding, using this whip of Vedanta and Shastra as a guidance, what you get is that permanent thing. Everything else that is temporary is thrown out in our understanding cognitively. You obtain yourself as that one indivisible whole. The moment you obtain yourself as that indivisible whole, in that everything else other than yourself, including doubts, are thrown away. And they are not thrown away to be kept in another dustbin where they are collected so that they can be brought out every time for time pass again. Like a pani puri. This doubt I had, put it, let me now reveal on this doubt. When you understand that this is mirage, it is a knowledge given. You can never force yourself to be ignorant about that fact. You will never tell the driver saying, hey, stop. If you are going to go further, I am going to shoot you down because you will get me drowned into that water. No. Will you ever say this? You will never say this. Though you see water in front of you, you will say that, you will know that, okay, this is happening and it is not there. This is the understanding actually. So, this question of then why we were created with ignorance goes off. That ignorance.
Maya is mirage.
Maya is mirage. Maya is Yama. Just see the way beautifully it is used. Yama. That which is not is Maya. Maya. So then why do we need to give another word? To explain any point, you need to give something for mind to dwell on. Mind needs all these things. For example, when we put certain cluster of numbers, you don't really make out anything. The moment you present it in a graph where you have timeline on x-axis and whatever variable we want to say, either turnover or profit, you want to give it on y-axis, very nicely given, September, October, November, December, this graph goes like this, okay, okay, things are going up. Very easily, you can understand it very easily. That's because mind needs, structure, it understands better. Many a times you would have seen most of your bosses would say, boss, pictorially दिखाओ मुझे, ऐसे लिखित मत लेके आना. Don't give me numbers. Come to me with pictorial things, diagrams, stories. So that's what appeals to mind a lot. That's where one has to give names to all these things and tell mind saying, no, this is Maya. Then you have to explain what Maya is all about. And as you start explaining, you have to say, Mahadbhutam Anirvachaniya Rupa. It is a great wonder, very difficult to be categorically explained and defined. That's where it ends. Even when Shankaracharya, in Viveka Chudamani, he says, Shannapya Shannapya Vibhayatmikano, Bhinnapya Bhinnapya Vibhayatmikano, Sangapya Nangapya Vibhayatmikano, Mahadbhutam Anirvachaniya Rupa. So he had mentioned that actually, saying, oh, you want to know what is Maya? Now you see this way. If you have to say whether it is made of parts or not made of parts or both, a combination, it is very difficult to say. It is neither made of this nor made of that, nor a combination of that. So it says very clearly, in whatever form you want to see, it's very difficult to say it is this actually. So lastly it says Maha Adbhutam, it is a great wonder, Anirvachaniya Rupa, very difficult to categorically define what it is. That's what Maya is all about. But Maya is used for the explanation in some format to help mind to rest and be happy with the logic. So you have a logic, you bring in another logic, mind is very happy. Ab theek hai. Thanks. this happens. Manish, you want to say something? Then I want to go back to one thing what Shraddha asked long back actually. I'll quote that for the benefit of everyone. Manish, you can ask what do you want to say.
I was just saying that say Maya is mirage, but Maya is as real as Brahman.
Of course, because it draws its power from Brahman only. See, all that is here, for example, that statement, all that is here is Brahman is amazing. You go to what hill you call it, an antilla, whatever, some hill, of this place of Ambani's, whatever hill you call it, some kind of a building it is called, I don't know what's the name, some name actually. Antalya, whatever, yeah, Antalya. So, the moment you go there, it's very clear, no? Every drop of thing what is there belongs to that gentleman. Right from the cement, right from the gravel, right from, a costly painting that may be there. Everything that is there belongs to him. It is a simple example. Similarly, anything that is here belongs to the totality, including Maya. Including Maya, it belongs to the totality. Yeah, I'll come back to that, the logic part of it actually, how logic works.
One more thing.
Yeah, please.
So, understand if Maya would have not been there, understanding Brahman would have been easier. So, it is all Maya which is making it so difficult because we can't see Brahman.
Just imagine. Now, this is beauty actually. Now, your statement, okay, I will rephrase this way. Okay. You said that had Maya not been there, would it have been easy to stay with Brahman alone, be as Brahman alone? This was the statement, correct? Now we will replace that Maya with the explanation what I gave. Maya is what? Yama, that which is not. Now we will state the statement. If that which is not was not there, would it have been easy to stay as Brahman? Is the statement we are having now. Now again I'll rephrase. If that which is not was not there, would it have been easy to just stay as Brahman? Now the question is, you are yourself saying that which is not. Then why are we saying was not there or were not there? That which is not is never. That which is not is never. Now we want to say, see, it's very easy. You just see, So logic only goes to this extent. I want to really say that every explanation that is given is coming from the system. They are very, very valid. But if someone asks a question like Manishji or Bhavya, these are ultimate questions. Penultimate questions, at least you can call it. Then in the first place, why Ajnana happened? When Brahman is something which is so pure, where is the space for Ajnana then? उसके लिए किसी और ने जगह बना के दिया था क्या? For Ajnana to stay. So in knowledge there is no ignorance, correct? But we are starting with ignorance, saying now knowledge is going to work on this to remove this ignorance. Then in the first place, how the hell this was there? Is the question. Good. This is where we have to delve a little bit deeper into this and say that mind is that thing which will create these kind of doubts. These are the knots. Luckily, this is Hridaya Granthi we call it. This is that Granthi actually. And these are the things which have to be brought out to the foray as a question, and this unknotting has to happen. It has to happen. I'll again on the logic part I'll tell you. Shraddha just now went out actually. I don't know whether Ambikaji was there or Shraddha was there in this meeting. Earlier in one of the sessions, we have one of the member by name Shraddha. She is pursuing law now. She's just pursuing law now actually. No, she's of that age actually. Student, you can say, even now. But she has interest in these things, she deals in these concepts. When we were mentioning in Viveka Chudamani that the self is already that Ananda. Swarupa Ananda, it is of the nature of Ananda already. You don't need to reinvent it, it is of the nature of Ananda. So it was mentioned as a point. Okay, the Satchidananda, when we mentioned that Ananda is that actually. So she was asking why it should be only Ananda. Okay, so why should it be only that, that happiness or whatever it is? So I was just wondering, okay, so then what would you want that to be? So she said neutral. I asked this actually, okay, you want the nature of that to be dukkha? She said no. Then what would you ascribe that to be? She said it can be neutral, no? Why Ananda? Okay. Now you see the answer which came out. I will not own the answer. It just came about. I think Sonia and Ramya, they were witness to this. Actually, they were in person here in this session that time when this question was raised. So I happened to give this answer. The answer was this way. So I said that basically, for mind to appreciate, you have to give certain things. Sukha, dukkha. For example, when the seeker is coming, he is coming with a problem. That's very clear. So he wants a solution. After solution, he is going to be happy. That is Ananda. That's the reason we use the word Ananda, saying, boss, you are already Ananda. Don't worry. You will get that. Just go through this process. Right? That's the reason you have to give the word Ananda, because mind understands that way. So when I gave kind of this stuff, she was okay. And I followed up with a question, saying that, Shraddha, now, assuming I give you a convincing answer. At the end of it, will you be sad, happy or neutral? That's all I asked. And Shraddha said she got the answer. That's all. She only knows what answer she got, but that's what I said. Okay. So logic is only valid to that extent. Yes, Manishji.
Sir, but Sukh and Sukha, Dukkha is also a part of Maya. So actually speaking, Brahman is neutral. Brahman is no Ananda or no Sukha. It is beyond that.
Yeah. See, as long as it remains cotton or even a cotton seed, no guna has come. I am just giving as an example. Everything that is gross has guna. But I am just saying, as long as it remains cotton seed, it is okay. Or even if it comes into a plant and remains as cotton, okay. But the moment it becomes a yarn, then it is given a color, then it can either go into Indian flag or it can go to Pakistan flag, depending on the color that is given. Then the moment that is given, then you can imagine what kind of emotions are attached towards these different colors of flags. But when we go back to the idea of yarn and go back to the idea of cotton and go back to the idea of seed, there is no problem. So we start with the no problem situation. Just because of certain modifications and many other things which are at play, it becomes a huge world and two countries and fight. That's what. So when you go back to basics, just one thing. From that one thing, so many things come. So basically, even in our own understanding, we have seen with this Maya which is available to us, you have 10 kind of, you have one ball of clay. With this, you can create certain items. So when you create certain items, some items may be appealing to someone, some items may not be appealing to some. Simple as this. So when you give a form, that's where interpretation starts. So basically, when a thing can be there, definitely there can be many problems around that thing. When it can be given different color. But here, Shastra says that yes, change is all there, it is all seen, but it is only kind of ephemeral, not eternal. It is anitya. It's saying, yeah, you see Maya, yes, it makes sense to say that it is there, yes, because it has a utility, because there is a wall. You can't say that wall in any case was not there before, it's not going to be there later. Today also it is not there. You can't go and bang the wall actually. You can't go and bang your head against the wall because wall doesn't exist. But one thing you have to understand is matter is energy. So you go and bang, definitely you will be banged also all the way. So that of course we have to accept from a transactional perspective. So transactional, there is a Vyavaharika Satya, that is there, okay. But it is not a Paramarthika Satya. That's what you have to understand. Yes, it appears as water now, that's okay. But we don't need to react to it. It is appearing as water, it is not a problem now, let it be there. Car can still go forward. So Bhavya, I hope you got answer in some way. So the point is, once you understand and crack that, you will be helping everyone this way actually. Because you have already cracked that actually. There is one point where you have to crack all these doubts as a package actually. And for example, I keep saying this actually, only as much I can, express. If you say there are 100 doubts, for example, the 100th doubt has to be brought out and it should be killed. Only then you get that ultimate knowledge. That has to be killed. That is the only reason which is the only way to go. There is no other way. It cannot be given as a pill at all. It can never be given as a pill because the quantum of doubts what each person has is completely different. This is the reason why discussion alone helps. Only discussion alone helps. It does not help only to just have a book or have a pill. It doesn't help at all. Because each one has this different set of doubt actually. The doubts have to become zero. Zero, absolute zero. That's where you obtain yourself actually as without any this one. That's why they call it Ashankaha Shuddha Chaitanyam Aham Asmi. That Chaitanya, Shuddha Chaitanya is just me. And this is that one thing which is without a second, Advitiya, that is myself. So the moment you do not see anything other than yourself, there is nothing called doubt also. It also goes into the same package of Maya. That's what happens. Good. Thanks Bhavya for asking this question. Thanks Manishji. I think these basic questions are very important and these are all basic questions and these are all very strong questions actually. We have to just think like a child only in this pursuit. Never take anything at the, let's have Shraddha, it is all okay. But we have to validate every statement that comes. Every statement. Because Shastra itself says that you have a problem because there is ignorance. About what? About the nature of oneself. So it says that there is a lack of understanding. For this lack of understanding, then the right understanding is the only way. Right understanding means thoughts. You have to think in a particular way. Inquiry has to be there. Asking questions is a part of inquiry. Definitely it is healthy. That's the only way. Good. We have already overshot the time. Fine. So we can conclude the session by chanting Purnamada. You have seen also that Swamiji has mentioned about Shanti mantras in different Vedas. Purnamada forms part of Shukla Yajurveda and it's a part of Ishavasya Upanishad. I think it is also part of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad which comes from Shukla Yajurveda. And Sahana Vavatu is from Krishna Yajurveda. And from a Parampara perspective, actually from whatever, when we are given this Dvija, we know from which Veda we are from. So, we are from Krishna Yajurveda. So, I know this from my father because I had interest, I asked him which Yajurveda we are from. We are from Krishna Yajurveda actually. Good. We'll conclude the session with Purnamada, which is a part of Shukla Yajurveda. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Have a nice day, all of you.
Hari Om, sir.
Sir, one thing.
Hari Om, master. Thank you.
Sir, one thing.
Manishji, I'll stay.
As you said, I just like last we said Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we should instead of that say Om, as you explained, Om Shanti space Om Shanti. So no Shanti because that is also creating a sukh.
Yeah. Yes, we can mentally internalize that. And if you see, Swamiji has given
Yeah.
another meaning also to
No,
that.
that's because we are pronouncing it, what we are wanting it.
Yes.
As you said today, that is altogether a different perspective. That why you need to say a word Shanti.
Yeah.
It is Om space, Om space, Om space.
Yeah. Also, it is two ways. Swamiji has explained saying that there are three disturbances that can come. Can come into our pursuit from three quarters: Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika. So from all the geographical factors or external factors, and from one's own mental factor. So these three we want them to behave properly and support us. That's why we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti 3 times. So that's what is the purport which Swamiji explains. So when I put it also into this way, Swamiji has explained this in another place also, that what is the technique of witnessing. So Om and another Om, in between the Shanti is there. You just observe that. As you observe that Shanti, the observer is there. You are that. That technique is given actually. So what I put it this way is, that technique, unfortunately, if it is not given a form as a word, Shabda, you can never send it to another generation. So just it's so nice, no? Shanti is silence, and it is a Shabda. Shanti in the form of Shabda, because it has to be translated to our next generation. The word Shanti has to be given as a Shabda and script. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good day. Bye bye.